Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn how to make this beautiful pair of pants. These I decided to call them the flower crochet pants, but you can do away with the flowers if you wish. And in this video, for me, I'll be attaching flowers as you can see in this image. And these pants can be perfectly matched with our previous halter top that we just did in our previous video. So I'll be leaving the links in the description box below of the matching top. And also, if you would wish to do the shorts version, we already have a pair of shirts on the channel as well as a written pattern. So if you don't want to make the pants, you can go ahead and just make the shorts and then match them up with the same exact halter top. So let's get into the materials. So for the materials, you will need a 4mm crochet hook. The yarn that I'm using is Seagull. It's a 4-ply acrylic yarn and I am using 2 strands. I literally used a full packet, which is a total of 3,000 yards. So if you decide to use a DK weight single strand, you will need about 1,500 yards. And then you also need a darning needle, a measuring tape, and a pair of scissors. So let's get started. Alright, so to start off our project, we're going to start with a slip knot. You're going to get your 4mm crochet hook and create your slip knot. And you're going to make a chain that can wrap around your hips comfortably well when stretched. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and I'm going to continue chaining. Alright, so I've started off with a chain of 140 chains, and this can stretch to 38 inches, which is my intended hip circumference. So you're going to make sure that your chain is not twisted, and you're going to slip stitch into the very first chain. Make sure your chain is not twisted and slip stitch. So insert your hook into the very first chain and yarn over, pull through all. That is going to form a round, as you can see here. And then from here, you're going to make a chain of 1 and half double crochet into the very first stitch. You're going to continue to half double crochet in each and every chain around. So yarn over, insert your hook into the next chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all, sorry. That's a half double crochet in the US terms. So you're going to continue to half double crochet in each and every chain around your starting chain. Sorry for the noise, there's some welding work going on in the neighborhood. Okay, so we're coming to the end of round 1, and as you can see, we have a few more chains left. And I'm placing my very last half double crochet into the very last chain of the round. And that marks the end of round 1. For this particular design, we're not going to be turning our work to work in the opposite direction of the previous round. We're just going to continue working around and around. So at this point, you will need a stitch marker. Let me get mine real quick and we continue. All right, so here is my stitch marker. When you come to the end of the round, as you can see, we've placed a half double crochet into the very last chain. You're going to go into the very first half double crochet of the round and you're going to place a half double crochet. That will be the very first stitch of your new round. You just place a half double crochet there and then mark that stitch with a stitch marker. So that's our very first stitch of the new round. So basically right now we are working on round 2. You're going to just continue to place 1 half double crochet in each and every stitch all the way around until we come back to this point where we've placed the stitch marker. And you should notice that you're working in the same exact direction as the previous round. So just keep going, placing 1 half double crochet in each and every stitch until you get back to the stitch marker that you just placed. So the effect that this is going to create will be seen later on, but for now we can't see the effect that's created by working in the same direction as the previous round. As our work keeps building, you'll see how our stitches will appear very perfect and close to each other. So let me go around and I'll meet you back towards the end of the round. Alright guys, we've made it all the way around to the end of round 2, and I'm placing my very last half double crochet into the last stitch before the stitch marker. You're going to remove the stitch marker and then place a half double crochet in that stitch that had the stitch marker, and this is our very first half double crochet of round 3. You're going to replace the stitch marker into that first stitch of round 3 and then continue going, placing 1 half double crochet in each and every stitch around. So you can see how we are not creating a seam line at the back of the shorts or anywhere at all. We are just going in rounds. The stitch marker is the only thing that can help us trace the beginning of each and every round. So you're going to just keep repeating round 2 again and again until you get a specific number of inches. I will recommend a number of inches that you should grow to all the way from here until the level where we have to split the legs to create the pants or the shorts. So keep working round 2 and I'll meet you back when my short or pants have grown to that level where we need to split the legs to do the leg hole shaping. So we've reached the end of the round. As you can see, the stitch marker is here in the very first stitch, and I've placed a half double crochet in the stitch before the stitch marker. That means this marks the end of this round. Just follow the measurements on the screen so that we get the same exact look for our pants. So after your last stitch, this is where we are, and you're going to remove your stitch marker here and go into that stitch that had the stitch marker with a slip stitch, just like that. This marks the end of this round. Now we're going to go ahead and split the leg holes so that we work on one side first and then come back to the other side later on. Alright, so you're going to count the number of stitches that you have all the way around the bottom of your pants, and you're going to split that number into 2. So you're going to place a stitch marker in the exact middle of the opposite side, and then you're going to make a chain that splits the leg holes. I'll be recommending a number of chains for the different sizes. Make sure your chain is not very tight because we are going to come back and work into those chains. So from here you're going to make a slip stitch into the stitch with a stitch marker on the opposite end, and then you can remove this stitch marker at this point. Now we have separated the leg holes, as you can see here. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and work on one side of the pants. We're going to first work on one side and then we shall come back and work on the second side. So after your slip stitch, you're going to turn so that you're working on the right side of the work, not the wrong side. So you're going to just make a chain of 1 and make sure it's tight, and then go into each and every chain with 1 half double crochet. So that's the reason why I was telling you not to make your chain very tight, because we are going to work on it. Make sure you're still working in the same direction as the previous rounds of your pants. And then as you work, make sure you get your stitch marker and mark your very first stitch, just like we were doing before. So mark your first stitch of the round and then continue to half double crochet in each and every chain. Alright, when you get to the end of the chain, you'll have something that looks like this. Now you're going to go into each of the next stitches with one half double crochet and continue to do that all the way around without creating a seam line. Don't forget, we're not going to have a seam line for this project. So you just keep working around and around without turning, without creating slip stitches, nothing like that. So go all the way around and I'll meet you back at the stitch marker on this end. So that means we've started working on one side of the pants. This is the side that we've started with. We're going to keep working until we get the length of the pants that we want, and then we shall come back to the opposite side and also work on it, balancing what we have on this side. So keep working until you get to the stitch marker and I'll show you what to do next. Alright guys, we've made it all the way around, and make sure your work is not twisted. I'm placing my last half double crochet in the last stitch before the stitch with the stitch marker. Now I'm going to remove my stitch marker, put it aside, and then go into the very first half double crochet of the round with a half double crochet. This will be the very first half double crochet of the next round, and then you're going to mark it with a stitch marker. So from now on, we're just going to keep working around and around, building one side of the pants, just like we've been doing for the body, the upper body, before splitting the legs. So just continue with one half double crochet into each and every stitch all the way around. So when you come here, you know exactly what to do. You remove the stitch marker and replace it with a half double crochet, and then move the stitch marker into the new round and keep working again and again. So we ended up doing a total of 85 rounds right after the split of the legs, and this is exactly what we have. We just went straight and kept working in rounds until we got the length of the pants, and for us this is 85 rounds to get up to the feet, but you can do it to any length of your choice. After your last stitch, you're going to go into the next stitch and place a slip stitch. So just insert your hook and pull through all, and then you're going to make a chain of 1 and cut your yarn. And at this point you can remove the stitch marker because we are no longer using it for anything, and then you can go ahead and weave in your loose ends. Since I have 2 strands, I'm going to just tie a double knot at this point, and then I cut off the excess strand. So you're going to go ahead and do the same exact thing on the opposite side so that you have a balanced leg. As you can see here, we have 2 legs that are supposed to form our pants. You do the same exact number of rounds after the split of the legs, and you'll be able to get such a pant. To the waistband of the shorts, you're going to turn your work so that the beginning of round 1 is at the back, this chain here, and We are going to create a ribbing at the top of the shorts, just a short distance of around 3 rounds. You're going to start off with a slip knot and attach your yarn in the middle of any 2 half double crochets. So I'll go here and then make a chain of 2, which counts as our very first double crochet. Now you're going to go into the next half double crochet and place a front post double crochet and then a back post double crochet into the next stitch. And we're going to keep alternating between front post and back post double crochet into the next stitch. So for our front post, you yarn over, insert your hook, push the next stitch to the front, and then double crochet as usual. And then for a back post, you yarn over, go to the back, push that stitch to the back like this, and then double crochet as usual. We're going to keep alternating between front post and back post double crochet all the way around. And I think you can already see the ribbed effect that is being created right now for the waistband. Alright, we've made it all the way around and we've placed a front post double crochet in the next stitch, and then I'll place 1 back post double crochet into the very last stitch. And then you're going to go into the top of the first chain 2 and place a slip stitch. So that marks the end of round 1 of the waistband. You can see how the ribbing is already forming. If you're to look closely, we already have a ribbing on the waistline of the pants or the shorts. So we're going to make a chain of 2, and then in this round, the second round of the waistband, we are going to place a front post in each front post and a back post in each back post. So where you see a front post double crochet, place a front post double crochet, and where you see a back post, place a back post. The back post double crochets are going to be towards the back of the shirt, and then the front post double crochets are going to be popping at the front of the shirts. So just align your stitches and I'll meet you back at the end of this round. We're just making the waistband a little bit thicker by doing this, and so that we can get where to place our drawstring. So front post in each front post and back post in each back post double crochet all the way around. When you make it all the way around, slip stitch on top of the first chain 2 of the round, and then chain 2, and then do the same exact process as the previous round. So we want a total of 3 rounds for the waistband. This is our second, and then we have to do a third, and then we shall come back and see what everything looks like. Alright guys, we ended up doing a total of 3 rounds for the waistband, and that's the thickness that I got, about 1 inch, but you can go ahead and do as many rounds as you wish for your thickness of the waistband to be. And then you're going to separately make a chain. Mine is here. You're going to just make a slip knot and make a normal chain long enough to wrap around your waistline and even beyond. I did a total of 200 chains. And I'm going to weave this into the waistband of my shorts. Just thread it into the darning needle, and then you're going to locate the front middle section of the shorts, which is here for me, and I'm going to go in and out of every 2 stitches around the shorts. In and out of every 2 stitches. just like that, and you're going to do that all the way around. Alright guys, this is what our piece looks like when we put the drawstring into the middle round of the waistband. This is going to be something that adjusts the waistband of our shorts so that they can fit perfectly well. And then you can tie a knot here. You can even go ahead to attach tassels or beads at the ends of the drawstring, but I'm not going to do that. You're going to make a magic ring. Like that. And then pull this loop through and hold. You'll have this ring that has formed. Make sure your tail is on this side in the direction where you're going to be working your stitches. So you're going to hold, and then you're going to chain one. This is going to secure our ring. This doesn't count as a stitch. So you're going to go into that ring with a total of 10 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. And you should notice that I've been working around the magic ring as well as the tail. So after your 10 single crochets, you're going to pull this tail and it's going to close up that magic ring. You're going to pull it, and this is what we have. And you're going to go into the very first single crochet that we made with a slip stitch, but you're going to just insert your hook and then pull through with the white like that. So after this, you're going to pull on the blue to close up this big stitch. Make sure it closes up. And now we are working with white to create the petals of the flower. So chain 4. The first chain is to fasten off the white, and you can see when I pull on the white, the first chain disappears. So it's like we have 3 chains. So I chained 4, but the first chain was to secure my white yarn. After you chain 3, you're going to go into the next stitch with 2 trebles. So you yarn over twice. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Insert your hook into the next stitch. Pull up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook. And then yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. So that's the first treble. And make a second treble the same exact way. So after this, you have 2 treble crochets in this stitch, and then you chain 3, and then place 2 treble crochets into the next stitch. So yarn over twice, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So we have 1, and then the second one, the second treble crochet. So far we have a chain 3 and then 4 trebles. And after this, you're going to chain 3 and slip stitch into the stitch that has the last 2 trebles. So into that same stitch, you're going to slip stitch. Just insert your hook and pull through all. So this is our very first petal. We are going to repeat the same process. Chain 3, 2 treble crochets into the next stitch. Like that. And then 2 treble crochets into the next stitch. chain 3 and slip stitch into that same stitch with the last 2 trebles. Okay, so we have our second petal formed, and you're going to repeat this until we have a total of 5 petals. So chain 3, 2 treble crochets into the next stitch, two treble crochets into the next stitch, like that, chain 3 and slip stitch into the stitch with the last 2 trebles. So we're done with the third petal. Chain 3, 2 treble crochets into the next stitch, two treble crochets into the next stitch, and after this you're going to chain 3, slip stitch into the stitch with the last 2 trebles. So after your fourth petal you should be having 2 stitches left. There's this one and then there's this one. So chain 3, 2 treble crochets into the next stitch, which is the second last stitch, and then 2 treble crochets into that last stitch there. 1 and 2. And after this you're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch into that same exact stitch with the last 2 trebles, like that. Make sure you tighten the stitch, and then you're going to chain 1 and cut your yarn. So I've cut off the blue strand that was left, and then also cut the white. Now you're going to push your petals outwards so that they appear a bit puffy, and you can still pull on the tail to close up the gap in the middle if you don't want it there, but if you want it there a little bit, you don't over pull on it. Alright guys, now that you know how to make the flowers, you're going to go ahead and make several of them in bright colors. If you use the dark color, then if you use the bright color for the pants, then I would recommend maybe darker colors for the flowers, but we just randomly made several flowers in different shades, and these are the flowers that are going to sit on our pants. So so far our pants are plain, and we're going to turn them onto the wrong side. Just flip them over to the wrong side. And we're going to start attaching our flowers on the wrong side of the pants. So what we are going to do, let me say we are attaching this one. One thing that I forgot to mention is don't get rid of the loose ends on your flowers. Just leave them behind. So what we are going to do is identify where you want to place your flower. Put it onto the right side like this, and then you're going to use your crochet hook and pull through the loose ends. Just like this, and then maybe skip a stitch. So you see this, I'm skipping this and then going into the next space and then pulling through the second color, just like that. So the white strands are on one side and then the pink strands are on the other side, and then make a double knot. So let's see what we have on this side. Sorry, I left behind 2 pink strands. So once you get done with this, you just make a double knot, just like that, and then the right side of your pants will look like this. So we're just going to keep randomly placing these flowers. So let me say I'm attaching a white one. Let me get it here. So you're going to get your white strands together and then the pink one, and then place it onto the right side like this on the inside of the pants, and then insert your hook and pull through the white strands, all the white strands. If there are 4, pull them all through the same hole, just like that, and then skip a stitch and insert your hook and pull through the pink ones. And then at the back of the pants you make a double knot, just like that. And then you can go ahead and get your pair of scissors and cut off the loose ends like that. So we're going to do this all the way down the pants. I'm going to space my flowers. They're not going to be so compact or very close to each other, so I'm going to go ahead and keep doing this, and we shall see the final look of our pants.